At the sound of the cell door clattering open, Henry Hall raised his eyes. Sunlight streaming in through the barred window above the guard's head caught the man in silhouette in the doorway. Even without seeing his face, Henry could tell it was Atkins, a day-shift newbie, standing with his right hand on his baton as if daring Henry to make a sudden move or say something smart just so he could pummel him. The son of a bitch had been giving Henry grief ever since he wound up working in the solitary confinement wing, like he didn't already get enough grief from the other guards for what he'd done to get him put in here in the first place. "Warden wants a word with you," Atkins said. Henry's eyes were still adjusting to the difference in light, but he stood up from the thin mattress and cracked his back. He wiped the corners of his eyes. "What does the warden want with me?" "How the hell should I know? Move your ass, Hall." Not wanting to give the prick any further motivation, Henry got moving and turned around at the door to his cell with his hands behind his back. He had it pretty cushy compared to guys in Gen Pop. His lawyer was able to get him a color TV, as well as a paint and paintbrushes, but no canvas, just a large hardcover spiral notebook. He guessed they figured he could break down the frames and do some damage with the splintered wood to himself or to others. Either way, the notepad was a decent size and thick paper, and had helped keep him from cracking up in his time spent in his small cell. Atkins slapped on the shackles. He always put them on too tight, pinching into Henry's wrists, even when they led him out into the yard for exercise. Just another way for him to assert control. "Get moving," Atkins said, giving Henry a single shove in the middle of his back. Henry stumbled and righted himself. He walked at a normal pace until they reached the gate, where Atkins rapped on the bars with his baton. The lock buzzed and the gate rolled open. Henry stepped through briskly. The guard stationed here, his name was Chip Edwards, but everyone called him Pokey for reasons unbeknownst to Henry, eyed him narrowly before looking away. Nobody was quite sure how to treat Henry since he'd shown up here. He'd murdered a cop, but he'd also been one himself, putting the motto of "protect your own" to the test with every interaction. Usually they ignored him as much as possible, refusing even to make eye contact. When forced to, while passing other cons on janitor duty in the halls or watching over him in the library, they made a big deal about calling him Cop Killer, almost to the point of absurdity. Not Atkins, though. Atkins had hated Henry from the second they'd stuck him in this wing, and he took every opportunity to make it known. "Jesus, Hall. Were you crying? You're lucky you're in solitary. The monsters out in Gen Pop would whip up a batch of pancakes in your asshole for breakfast, lunch, and dinner." Henry ignored the jibe and kept walking. The warden's office was all the way over in C Wing, cushy and bright with a view of the yard. Henry would often see Warden Jones looking down from the window during his solo exercise time, hands behind his back, puffing on a fat cigar. Wood cleaner and cigar smoke permeated the air in this spacious, sunny room. Mahogany and dust were the two most common surfaces. "Take the shackles off," the warden said, puffing on the gnarled stub of a stogie in the brown leather chair behind his desk. "Sir?" Atkins said. "He won't give me any trouble." Warden Jones scowled at Henry with eyes as gray as the haze of smoke hovering around his head. "Will you, Hall?" "No, sir. I don't intend to." "Good." He sat the chewed-up stub in a vintage ashtray already filled with crushed cigars and piles of ash, a white ceramic one commemorating the 1971 world champion Dallas Cowboys, while Atkins grudgingly took off the shackles. When the guard finished, he stepped back, eyeing Henry narrowly. The warden pointed to the chair opposite him at the desk, and Hall sat. The brown leather was softer than the mattress in his cell. His ass cheeks hadn't felt this pampered in nearly 2 years. "Leave us, would you, Atkins?" "But, sir..." Warden Jones didn't say a word. He didn't need to. The knitting together of his bushy black eyebrows spoke for him. Atkins gave Henry one last fuck-around-and-find-out glare before leaving the office.
to keep listening to this audiobook. I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.